The word iconic is much overused in the modern day lexicon, but as we mark the passing of our sovereign, Queen Elizabeth II, it's as fitting as it is appropriate. For she truly was an icon of our age, in fact of many ages. Her 70-year reign straddled 2 centuries. Indeed, she was the first monarch of a new millennium. Of course, we all knew in our hearts, as much as we willed it, that she could not live forever. And yet when it was announced, the news of her death came like a hammer blow to all of us. That person who seemed the immortal foundation of our nation had gone. That she was a loved, admired, even revered figure is without doubt. But if further proof were needed, head down to the queue, miles long, wending its way through the streets of London as the people she served paid their respects. Or go to one of our royal parks to see for yourself the floral tributes and grief, not just of her loyal subjects, but of people from around the world. For she was a monarch whose presence enriched our nation's standing and engendered pride in her peoples at home and across the globe. Throughout it all, she bore her burden with a dignity, duty, and diligence that were frequently admired and often envied. It is not for nothing that she has been a part of all our lives for longer than most of us can remember. I need not remind anyone here the words of our national anthem, but one line struck me: long to reign over us, and she most certainly did. The figures speak for themselves. 14 British Prime Ministers, from Winston Churchill, the last to come of age in Victorian times, to Liz Truss, the last to be asked to form a government just 2 days before the tragic news. Queen Elizabeth II ascended to the throne at a time of post-war austerity, and from the beginning brought with her an age of modernity. Times in those first decades were not always smooth, but as head of state, she offered stability and solace during the good times and the bad. The Silver Jubilee of 1977 provided a moment of national unity. Through foreign conflict, industrial dispute, seismic cultural shift, and Britain's change in place in the world, the Queen remained a bright, steady constant. As empire faded and the Commonwealth grew, her wise counsel and sure touch underpinned that global transition. While affairs of state are one matter, she showed equal decorum in a personal capacity when she spoke of her own annus horribilis. It was a rare admission of her personal concerns. The dawn of the new millennium brought us a reinvigorated monarchy, relevant, human, alive to the concerns, but the preserving essence of tradition stretching back into British history did not leave us. A younger generation of world leaders eagerly queued up to meet her, and if royal protocol meant they couldn't take a selfie, you know that an official photograph of Her Majesty takes pride of place on many mantelpiece. In 2012, the Queen marked her Diamond Jubilee and revealed a more playful side of her character to the public at the London Olympics, seen in the limelight from another great British hero, James Bond. And clearly, she enjoyed herself as much as her fans appreciated the stunt. But at her Platinum Jubilee, she delighted all, appearing alongside another much-loved Westminster name, Paddington. Yes, even at her grand age, she continued to embrace cutting-edge technology, as she had from the start of her reign, from being the first monarch to have her coronation televised, to appearing alongside a CGI talking bear. It was definitely CGI. The Queen and indeed her family have a special connection with Westminster, home to Buckingham Palace. Let me go over just some of those connections. Her Majesty was born in the early hours of the 21st of April 1926 at 17 Bruton Street in Mayfair, and for a time she lived at 145 Piccadilly, where she spent much of her childhood. She was, of course, also married and later crowned at Westminster Abbey, and the Buckingham Palace was her principal home for most of her life. Today, as she has been for the past few days, Queen Elizabeth is home once more. Lying in state with a funeral ahead will be Westminster Abbey on Monday morning as I take my place at her funeral in my role as Deputy High Steward. But I will also be taking my seat in the capacity of the first citizen of Westminster, which, as I said, is a city that contains a unique bond with the royal family. There is, however, another constituency I hope to represent from our honoured position, and that's of the many young people who held Her Majesty in such high esteem. For the values she upheld of honour, of dignity, of fortitude, of service, I was appreciated as much by the newer generation than they are by their forebears. Like me, in recent days, you have seen and heard the many voices of the young, placing flowers, paying respects, putting on record their admiration for all the Queen represented. Queen Elizabeth II leaves an enduring legacy, not least in her son and heir, our King, Charles III. Of course, he reigns over a very different country to the one his mother ascended to, but we've seen a touching unity in the many faces, and indeed faiths, that make up modern Britain. On Thursday, I paid a visit to Regent Park Mosque, where members of the Muslim faith came together to commemorate Her Majesty and give the new King their blessings. Last night, I attended the West London Synagogue, where she was remembered with fondness and gratitude. And tomorrow, I attend a service of commemoration at St. John's Church in Hyde Park. Across generations, across borders, and across faiths, our sovereign made her mark. The Queen's own Christian faith guided the monarch throughout her life. My personal hope is that in death, she now joins her own beloved husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, in that place to which we must all travel one day. Thank you, Mum. God save the King.